So once again, you are watching the webinar on how to find a business assistant if you are, for example, a micro business or a small business, and how to set up working processes, not to go crazy. And when you have a micro business or small business that you're managing all on yourself, you're sole entrepreneur, solopreneur, you know how difficult at times it can be to manage the workload you have. So it's important at a certain point to find a person who will be able to help you with that. And we will switch to that within 5 minutes after we introduce ourselves. So my name is Anna Barashok, and I'm a digital marketing expert, and I've been working in this field for more than 7 years. And I've been working for such companies like Accenture, Microsoft, Google. I also worked with smaller companies and startups, particularly in Belgium. I'm located in Belgium. After more than 7 years in corporate world, I decided to try myself as an entrepreneur and try to launch my digital marketing academy. And when I got myself out there, I tried to find any community where I could find like-minded people, people who are doing businesses, and the place where basically you can ask questions about how to build actually a business, or you can find a mentor, basically the person who can help you to progress in building your business. But I couldn't really find any community like this in Europe. So in the end, I decided to create such a community by myself. So I had 2 projects on my shoulders, where I had to take care of a lot of things, and I started to feel overwhelmed. And this is when I started to really think about how to find a person who will be able to help me with all my tasks. And it would be also a person who knows how to do things. And I started to search and ask people around, and it took me quite some time to understand how to do that and how much it could cost to have a business assistant. And luckily, I got Ekaterina, and I would like to introduce her to you. Ekaterina Pipchenko, and she's holding this webinar with me. And we are working with Ekaterina for a little bit less than 1 month together, but things started moving pretty fast after I hired Ekaterina. So less than in 1 month, we already have almost a complete website. The payment systems are complete. Ekaterina helped me to develop the content plan. So things started really moving with Ekaterina. And during this webinar, we will tell you and explain you how I managed to find her and how we set up all the processes that help us to move fast through everything we need to do. Okay, I will give the word now to Ekaterina, so she would be able to introduce yourself to you.
Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Ekaterina Pipchenko, short as Katya. I'm very happy to see you all today. So I'm going to tell you about myself. I'm based in the UK. I live here permanently. Before I'm a freelancer, but before I became a freelancer, I worked for Nissan company for 7 years in different countries because due to the nature of my husband's and myself work, we had to travel quite a lot. So my main experience lies in project management. I manage large cross-functional project for Nissan. After we had to move our house, I thought maybe I should think about new profession that I can take on in every part of the world. So that's how I thought to become a freelancer. I've completed the course of International School of Digital Marketeers and Business Assistants called HELPI. And after that, basically it happened 1 year, I became a freelancer. I'm also a mom of 1.5-year-old girl, and I'm working from home, so I'm sort of multitasking most of the time. I hope you enjoy our webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, Ekaterina. That was a good introduction. And now we are ready to switch to the webinar itself. So I will share the screen, so you would be able to see the structure which we are going to through. Okay, here is the mind map of what we will cover. It is divided into 3 main parts. The first one is where to find a business assistant. The second one is vacancy description, how to write it and what to write in it. And the third one is how to organize a workflow. So I will be covering two first parts, and Ekaterina will cover the third one. So let's start from where to find a business assistant. As Ekaterina have mentioned, she was attending Helpy School, which is an international school of digital marketeers and business assistants. Well, now, unfortunately, not everyone will be able to attend it because the school is in Russian, and it's hosted by a girl who is actually based in Greece. But the school is basically targeted on really educating business assistants and marketeers, and is focused exactly on that. So there are actually English-speaking people studying in that school. So if you want to try and find a person right there, you can go through us. We actually don't take any money from that. We don't get any benefits from that. So we're just helping you. If you want to try and find an assistant through that school, you can just write to us and we will put you in touch with that school. Then the second place where you can search for an assistant is freelance platforms. And there are 2 quite famous and popular freelance platforms out there, which is Upwork and freelancer.com. I personally prefer Upwork.com. Because it's easy for me to work with the interface. And actually, before I found Ekaterina, I was working on Upwork a lot through Freelancers. I mean, the difference though with Freelancer and the business assistant, that Freelancer doesn't really try to understand your project in depth like a business assistant. And you're like basically losing a lot of time every time explaining the person what you need. But when you have a business assistant on site, the person is always beside she or he understands your project and your goals, and she's also more motivated to achieve the goals that you set for the project. So there are a lot of people on those platforms who are already business assistants. So you just need to write a proper job description to find the right person. And what is good about those platforms, that you can set up a price that you are ready to pay for a business assistant or whoever you are targeting. So people, when they see your job proposition, they already think, okay, am I ready to work for this amount and for this amount of hours or not? And then there are already people coming to you who are ready to work for that amount. But we will come to job description later, so you would be able to see how you can find a business assistant for a lower price. And how you can leverage a partnership in that way that a business assistant will be still motivated to continue working with you. Now let's move to the third place where you can find a business assistant, and these are digital nomads Facebook groups. I don't know if you ever heard about digital nomads notion. It's relatively new. They are actually people who are traveling the world, and they are working remotely. And there are a lot of Facebook groups and social groups out there with people basically sitting there and waiting a job proposition from you, like about being a business assistant. So you just go on Facebook and you dial digital nomads, and you will see different groups dedicated to those kind of people. Then you post there your job description and you sit and wait for reaction. And the fourth place to search for a business assistant is your own LinkedIn or Facebook wall. And actually, when I started to search for a business assistant, that's where I have posted my job description. And I've actually had some people contacting me, but I already made up my mind with the Catalina at that point. But it's actually also a good place to search for a business assistant. Okay, this is it for the first part. I will now, if you guys have any questions. Ekaterina, can you see any questions coming in? I don't. Okay. Okay, then we can switch to the second part, vacancy description. Even though it might seem quite straightforward, the vacancy description, so you kind of think, okay, I will just list to a business assistant whatever I need him or her to do, and that's basically it. Well, not exactly, because if you are limited in terms of money, and that was my situation, that I could only pay $150 a month, you have to find other ways to motivate potential business assistants actually to react on your job description, to contact you and get into interviewing process. Okay, so I will just briefly go through the components, and then I will show you our actual job description that I used for finding Ekaterina. So first, you write a brief project description, then overall goal the assistant shall strive to, and it's actually also the goal of your project or the company that you're building. What skills you expect from the assistant, personality type you search for, what you can offer to an assistant, how to apply to the job, and the last one, links to your projects and about you pages. And I will now switch to our actual job description. For those of you who subscribed to this webinar, you will get this as one of bonuses. So you could use it as a template later for yourself. For those ones who didn't subscribe, just drop your email in comments, or try to find the registration link and register, so we will be able to send you this information. So as I have mentioned, first you start with briefly outlining what your project is. So in my case, I have written, okay, that I have the idea of starting a digital marketing academy, that I worked in Google, that I have like experience that I can share also with business assistants. And I'm telling a little bit of my story. So a potential business assistant could kind of connect to me on on a little bit more deeper level, rather than I would just say, okay, I want to build this projects and these are the skills I need. So I kind of try to build also a momentum between me and the person who's going to work with me. Then I switched to a goal, and why the goal is important, because a business assistant should know where in the long term we want to be with the project. Because when you are listing just roles and responsibilities, a person might not be get so interested and motivated in what you're doing. But for example, in my case, that I want Success.Studio, and which is a digital marketing academy, be the biggest online marketing educational hub in Europe, which is of course a huge goal both for me and for a business assistant, and we both don't know if we would reach it or not, but at least it tickles somewhere inside, you know, that you wake up and you actually want to work for something like this. That's why you write your goal. And then you finally switch to the expectations, what you wait from the assistants. Before I go through it, I will just quickly glance on whether there are any comments or questions. I don't see any. Ekaterina, can you see any questions?
Not yet, but hopefully they'll be coming.
Okay. No, there are no questions so far, guys. If you have questions, do not hesitate to ask. So I'm coming back to what is expected from the assistant. So, well, usually there is no like rule of thumb, you know, what a business assistant must know, or it's not compulsory. Basically, you are searching for the person for certain things that, for example, you are not able to do yourself, or you just want to free up your time for more strategic tasks. And in my case, I have listed the following responsibilities. So managing social networks together with me, making a content plan, writing posts. So a business assistant should be able to write its own posts, and then finishing up my posts. So if I draft a post, then a business assistant should be able to kind of package it beautifully and post it. Advertising and welcoming of new fans according to an agreed process. The next responsibility, support with magnet leads development. Guys, if you don't know what magnet leads are, put a question mark in comments and we can explain later. Help with the website design, and actually Katerina helped me a lot with website design. She actually did much better than I expected, than I did, because I actually created the website myself, but she really improved it a lot. Finalize expert articles is the next one. Help with preparation of webinars, and as you can see, this is our first webinar actually, and everything is going smoothly, everything is working. So Katerina helped me with organizing all the processes for the webinar. Then the next one, create checklists and instructions. Create working processes, which is quite an important thing, because, for example, if your business assistant decides to quit, and you will need to find another assistant, then you will have already all business processes in there, and you will not to first explain everything to a new person, and you will not need to create the business processes again. The next one, find freelancers for jobs we are both not competent in. This has not happened so far, but this might happen for like deeply technical things. That's why it's there. Write articles based on my mini videos, add subtitles, download videos with tags on YouTube channel. This is still to come. Create presentations in Canva. And yeah, this is what Ekaterina does for me. And we both actually do, for example, posts for Facebook or social networks or whatever. Translating, summarizing, and adapting Russian expert articles for English-speaking audience. Admin support during webinars. Gather best practices for running social networks from competitors and propose her own ideas. So this is it. But of course, if you want your business assistant to do something else for you, yeah, no problem. You just add it there. Then the next point, what kind of personality I'm looking for. For some people, it might seem not really important, but I really believe into personalities and how we can complement each other. That's the first thing. And the second thing, if the person has the same values as I do. And it helps us actually to understand each other better. And that's what I actually noticed, because I don't need to explain Ekaterina twice. Things that I want, she understands quite really well what I want. And we have similar values of, for example, that we love studying, both of us. And this is important for me and the person who works with me. So I have written that I'm searching for an assistant with passion for self-education. And it's important because if a person, that this digital marketing landscape is developing and changing so fast, that you need to self-educate yourself very often, like almost every day. So it's important that there is a person who is ready to self-educate herself or himself. Kind attitude towards people, structured, and being ready to help me with those things that I'm not competent in. Another important thing, for example, for me, she should not be afraid to sell and force me to focus when I feel like I'm losing concentration, because I know myself and sometimes I can be like all around the place. So I need a person who would tell me, okay, Anna, focus. This is the direction we have chosen and we need to follow that. And so on and so forth. Then the next part is what can I offer to assistant? And this is actually a very, very, very important part when you are limited in terms of money, that I have mentioned you already before. So in my case, I knew that I can afford to pay only $150 per month because I don't generate any revenue at the moment. But how do you actually attract a talent for such a low price? Because Ekaterina, I mean, she speaks 2 languages, perfect English, perfect Russian. She writes amazing copy. She's really skillful. Yeah, it took quite some time for me to figure out, okay, how can I motivate a person to work with me for that amount? And I kind of also realized that, okay, I don't pay anything to myself, which is already something, but I'm paying to my business assistant, and we are sharing of a common goal of building something bigger. So she's basically not really even a business assistant. She's my partner, almost like a co-founder. This is the first thing. So you need to let person know that she or he is really a part of this company, and she or he is able to contribute to the growth of the company she will then benefit from. So you're saying, okay, in the beginning, I will be paying $150 per month, for example, for 3 hours a day. But when we start generating revenue, of course, this salary will go up. And another thing that you can also do, you can really become co-founders when you basically just split the shares of the potential company you're building. Then another things that you can motivate your business assistant with is be open to the propositions of your business assistant. So it's not like one-way road. You really need to give a lot of credibility to the person and trust into her knowledge and the feedback that she gives, and be ready to hear that feedback and actually take it over and implement it. So in my case, I also let Ekaterina know that a lot of things are already done. So it's not really from scratch that she needs to start. For example, like building the website from the scratch. Actually, it was already partially there. She just needed to improve it and add certain things to it. So other benefits. You also can write, so for example, that you can be a mentor to a business assistant. Is if she, for example, he's much younger than you, you have more expertise that you can share. And I also provide access to my database of trainings on digital marketing. So this is what I share with Ekaterina, because I learn myself a lot, and I pay for a lot of different webinars and trainings. Some of them are expensive, some of them are not, and I'm sharing those trainings with my business assistant for free. And I also I added, at least in job description, that I will be providing free books on marketing and personal growth. So far I haven't shared anything with Ekaterina, but I will be for sure, because I have a lot of them. And yeah, you can add there anything that can contribute into better cooperation between you and your business assistant. The next thing, how to apply for this job. I mean, this is one logical thing, but some people really forget about it. Sometimes they write job description, but they forget to let potential employees know how they can contact you and what information they need to send you. So in my case, I asked some kind of portfolio. For example, a person can send any website that he or she has done before, or social posts or articles, for example. And then I was asking for CV and also a short cover letter that would explain why a person actually wants to work with you and for this project. Then I provided more information about me, but this is also a little bit to motivate the person to work with me, because I have quite some experience of working in big corporations, in traveling the world. So this is the way also to attract a person to work with you. And this is basically it, guys. This is how, again, it looks like, basically 2 pages. Yeah, if you haven't registered for the webinar, do drop us a line in comments with your email, and we will send it to you. So I'm closing this down. So this is it with the first and the second part. And now I will give finally the word to Ekaterina. So she would explain you how we organize our working processes, so it all goes smoothly. Ekaterina, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Anna. So let's talk about the period when you already hired your great assistant, and how are you going to work with him or her. So the first and most important thing probably is to discuss how you're going to protect both of you. So you need some sort of an agreement, and there are a lot of templates on internet you can find for official agreements and so on, but there are also very simple agreements. They're called letter of agreement. It's basically a 1-page, it's like a letter where you can actually put all the things you need, and it's very quick to do, doesn't require any legal work, and it will protect both of you. And it's also quite fluid document, so you will be able to update it anytime when you have agreed something new with your assistant. So, but I will just cover a few things that you should include in this letter of agreement or just normal agreement. So you should have a project background where you can describe what sort of project your assistant or any freelancer will be working on, what does it include, and so on and so on. It also should cover what services freelancer will deliver for you. It could be, in our case, there's quite a few things as Anna described to you before, but it could be just one task. For example, if it's just a freelancer for one job, you can ask them to do a website, for example. It will be just one thing. But basically need to write in as much detail as possible what is required from your assistant, so they know what you need and you also know what to expect from them. You should put down the cost with which you agreed with your assistant to pay. Timeline, if there's any deadlines or certain milestones within your project that you should meet. Timeline, again, that could be a project plan or some agreements on when the work should be done. In terms of payment, you need to write down when are you going to pay your assistant and how. For example, with Anna, we agreed that she'll pay me 30% at the start of the month and the rest of the money at the end. That's quite helpful because it, especially when you're just starting working together, so the assistant can trust you that you will pay them, not run away. And you can also, make sure that paying everything in advance, but looking how they're doing their job. And I think you wanted to add something about the cost in this.
Yeah, well, I've actually mentioned it already before. That when you are paying $150, for example, for a very qualified person, you need to think in a little bit in progression. Okay, how you are going to keep that person working beside you, and you can agree on such thing that, okay, when we start generating revenue, that a business assistant will get a certain percentage from the sales of those webinars. And actually, when you're an entrepreneur, this is how you should think about every person that you hire, because every person that works for you actually should generate revenue for you. So in the long term, you need to think about it and agree actually with your employee that yes, that in the future there will be this possibility that we will start, for example, selling webinars, and you will get a certain percentage of money from those webinars, and your salary will go up. And of course, the more you sell, or the more you help with those sales, of course, the higher amount you will pay, you will get. Sorry. That's all what I wanted to say. Yeah, you can continue.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Okay, sorry. So like I said, this simple document will protect both of you and your assistant, but it's also a very fluid document that you can change anytime you want, obviously with both of your agreements. So next thing we're going to cover is task management, which is a very important thing. So when you're starting to work with your assistant, you need to make sure you share all your procedures and documents with them. In our case, we shared Anna shared her passwords with me. Basically, you need to set up your system to make sure the work is smooth and transition, especially in the first months or two. They need to make sure that they understand everything and they have access to all the documents that is required for their job. Also, you need to use collaboration tools, and the one we're using is called Trello. If you haven't heard of it, there's like a collaboration platform that gives sort of visual perspective on your project. I'll share my screen with you. I'll show you what does it look like actually.
Yeah, I will stop sharing my screen. We'll let you share
Yeah.
yours.
Thanks. 2 seconds. Right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, something is appearing. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that's Trello, the app or tool that we're using for our work. Yeah, you can see pretty pictures here. So basically, we've created a few boards here. First one is called To Do. So here we put everything, basically all our to-do items, to-do tasks. This one's our general sort of amount of work we need to do in some amount of time. But the ones we're working on and the ones are in priority are in the next column here, which is in progress. So this red line actually showing that this is a priority task. Within the task, you can actually put a checklist. It's very simple to add. So subtasks for your main task, and it's very easy to, sorry, some of it is in Russian, so you probably will not understand, but trust me, there are some real tasks there. So most of them are done. There's a couple still to do. It's very simple to use. You can add comments, add photos, and it basically works so simultaneously, immediately. Your team or your employer will be able to see what's added, what's done, and so on. And you will be able to see immediately what, if Anna, for example, added something on the list. Our next column here is what's been done. Generally, what's been done since we started working together. But there's another column here which is called what was done today. Here we put, usually at the end of the day, I would put I've done this and that, so it will help me to feel sort of sense of achievement that I have done something today, and tomorrow I have other tasks to do. Another column here, which we have, is ideas. Here we can just put, if you have a brainstorming session, or Anna has a new idea for a new project, for example, she can simply put here a new card, and we'll come back to it when there's a time for that. But just not to forget about it. It's good to see it all the time, so you remember about it. So that's Trello. If you have any questions, please let us know, and we can collaborate a bit more on that topic. Otherwise, we'll continue. So next, Anna, I'll stop sharing my screen. If you can share the map again, please.
Okay. So we are back to the mind map. Can you see it?
Yes, thank you. That's Trello for you. There are other tools that you can use. I used to work with Wunderlist. I basically managed everything in Wunderlist, my family stuff, my projects, and so on and so on. It's also quite a useful tool, but there are plenty of them there, so you can just choose whatever works best for you and your assistant. So next is documents organizer. Oh, sorry, daily communications channel. So 2 seconds. It's kind of a priority as well. We use a few channels to communicate. As you can see here, there is WhatsApp, Slack. We actually don't use Slack, but it's one of the popular tools as well. I think that the important thing here is, no matter what tool you're using, especially the start of your job together with your assistant, is to make sure you have some pattern of meetings, so regular meetings, just to make sure you keep in touch on everything, you level all your issues, problems, plans, ideas. It will help you to bond a little bit more, but also it will help you just to, not to lose sense of you're working as a team, and it's quite important. I think it's one of the most important things. And sometimes also leaving some voice messages on either, you can do it either on Facebook or WhatsApp as well. It's quite useful as well when you don't have time to type. And that's it.
Yeah, I will just jump in a little bit here because I find it a very cool tool, like voice messages, because sometimes I find myself, I don't know, walking or when I have to actually, I don't know, do something and get distracted. So I use voice message, briefly describing to Catalina what needs to be done and where the documents are that she needs to find. And yeah, I don't need to waste my time on actually typing I don't know for how long. So it's really good and fast tool to communicate with each other.
Yeah, so there are plenty at the moment. There's lots of communication tools that you can use, but just make sure that you use them because they're very important. Next thing is documents organizer. I think everybody knows Google Docs and Dropbox. They're sort of cloud-based platforms where you can store all your documents. I'll share my screen with you just in case.
Yeah, I will stop sharing.
Let's see, 2 seconds. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen here. So let's stop going now. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, so that's our Google Drive with all our folders and documents with the project shared with Success.Studio. You can see here at the top. So basically everything is kept here just to make sure we don't lose anything. I think it's pretty straightforward as well how to use it. You can basically put any document, picture, video.
Yeah, maybe as an example, you can show, for example, our interviews folder.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, for example, we have several interviews in the pipeline with different entrepreneurs who will be sharing their success stories of how they became entrepreneurs and how they are building their startups. And so this folder is just for the interviews. And so every person we are going to interview has its own file with a structure of the interview with all the links that we need for that interview, with pictures, for example, that you can see on the last slide. So basically anything we need to conduct that interview. So it's very handy when we need some information, we just go there and we both find it, no problems.
Yeah, I just wanted to add as well, if you can obviously edit all the documents here if you have access. So it's very useful and great tools. So I think that's it on my list, unless you have any questions.
Yeah, I will just, if you can stop sharing screen, I will come back to the mind map. Yeah, even though that we've already finished covering everything we wanted to share with you on the process of finding a business assistant and setting up a working processes with him or her. So I will just keep it in front of your eyes, and we'll tell you just thank you for listening to the webinar, and I hope it was useful for you, and I hope it will help you to really accelerate your business, because that's what kind of I feel started happening with me and with Success.Studio. If you want to follow more webinars, this is our first one, but and it was testing webinar as well. We will be holding more webinars on digital marketing, actually, how to build your website, how to structure your website so it would attract more users, and many more. You can actually check the types of webinars we're going to have on Success.Studio website, because there is the program of the Academy. And I would also like to invite you to keep an eye on the page of Success.Studio, because we are partnering up with Big Jump in launching a marathon on how to identify your passions and strengths and how to translate them into business. So there will be 5 days free marathon, not 5 consequent days, but every second day you will get several exercises which will help you to identify what are your passions, and if those passions are actually translatable into business. And again, we are doing it not on our own only, we're partnering with Big Jump. So it's going to be an interesting thing. Keep an eye on that. And again, so we will follow up with the recording of the video. I know that we had something like 10 people who registered but said they were not able to attend, and they asked for video recording. So we will be sending the video recording, and we will be sending the bonuses. And the bonuses are the mind map itself, the one that you see, and the job description that we showed you before. So you could take it over, adjust it for yourself, and search for your business assistant. Did I forget to mention anything, Ekaterina?
No, I think we've covered everything.
We are good. Okay, I would like to thank you guys for listening again. I would like to thank Ekaterina as well for being with me, being my support, my partner in crime. And yeah, keep on following, guys. We really hope to give you the value, because we are doing this for you, to inspire you to be your better selves. And we're learning about ourselves in that way as well. Thank you, and till next time.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I just need to find the button to end the meeting. Here it is. Thanks, guys. Bye. Bye-bye.